seat. Driver's seat. Yeah, doing alright. Still driving on a Saturday night. Yeah, come walk me. Gonna dance today. Yeah, driver's seat. Driver's seat. Yeah, Jenny was sweet. There is no relief. Yeah, pick up your feet. Pick up, yeah, pick up your feet. Gonna dance today away. Yeah, driver's seat. Ooh, driver's seat. Yeah, driver's seat. Ooh, driver's seat. Yeah. Yeah. Driver's seat.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here.
We embrace tolerance, not prejudice. We support the courageous men and women of law enforcement. We will never abolish our police or our great Second Amendment, which gives us the right to keep and bear arms. We believe that our children should be taught to love their country, honor their history, and respect our great American flag.
Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
Good morning. I think we're gonna use that for the open every hour. Wow. I mean, really, what more can you say than wow? We got a lot to get into today. We have a lot to talk about. I would love to. I'd love to spend more time on the phones today if you're interested, because I'd like to talk with people. I'd like to get different perspectives. I was telling this to the video audience before we signed on again. We end the video after Mike's show, and then I restart it. And so we have actually two videos. And if you're at legacy1160.com and you go to the video stream, you'll see there are two videos there. Top one is Mike. The bottom one is this show, Freedom's Pep Rally. And I'd like to hear from people. And I know we aren't going to agree on everything. Now that never became more apparent than yesterday when I made a post on Facebook, which I will get into. I've actually lost a couple of friends, 3 friends, and Facebook friends. I mean, what is that? They aren't really friends if they delete you for your opinion. But one of them hit me really hard because it was somebody that I had worked with for years in broadcasting. Somebody I had worked for years with in broadcasting, and she made a comment on a post that I did yesterday, and I came back and explained my position, and she was she came to I didn't go to her page. She came to mine, and I gave my position, and I was deleted by her. And I thought, wow, that's odd. That's kind of strange. That's not really a friendship, is it? That's just somebody who will only be your friend if they agree with you. And believe me, I've got friends that totally disagree. I've got friends who called Trump the Orange Hitler. who I have not unfriended because that's their opinion. I call them out on it. When they make a post on their page I don't like, I will rebut it. And when I make a post, they will rebut it on my page. We aren't jerks about it, and we haven't deleted each other. There are a few people like that. I respect people like that, despite the fact that I completely disagree with them. I mean, you take Mike, there's no better example of that than Mike Violet and Ethan Strimling, former mayor of Portland. There is nobody more, there's not anybody that could be defined as a left-wing nut job any more than Ethan Strimling, former mayor of Portland. And Mike says that. Mike says that on the radio. He tells Ethan that. And he's serious. He is dead serious. But they are, in real life, in person, they are the best of friends. Which, some people can't do that. Some people just cannot do that. I like to think I can, although sometimes I've never deleted somebody because of their political opinions, though, on social media, because I think it's good to engage, whether it's positive or negative, as long the only time I've done it, and it's very, very few times, is when somebody comes on and they start calling me, they swear at me, they call me names, and there have been a handful of people in the past couple of years who have done that, and bye-bye, they're gone, they're blocked. But for the most part, I'm pretty easy to get along with. But I've been deleted by, I would say, probably 200 or 300 people just because they don't like the way I think, which is fine. Don't need you. If you don't want to be a friend, don't need you. More room for tolerant people is the way I look at it. 9:27 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Well, before we get into the hard stuff here, as it were, let me tell you a couple of anecdotes, just lifestyle things that maybe you'll be able to relate to. My grandson's over for a few days, my little 2-year-old grandson. And so yesterday I'm trying to do my work. I'm in my office down in the basement doing my work because so believe me, there's a lot of stuff to cover as of yesterday afternoon as we all sat and watched in horror as things unfolded, wondering what was going to happen next. So I'm down trying to follow it and trying to make notes for today. And all of a sudden, my 2-year-old, who's by the way, speaks so well at 2 years old. He speaks you know what he wants. He speaks sentences. He tells you what he wants. I'm PP, by the way. That's my name. I'm not Grampy. I'm not Pepe, God forbid. I am PP, and I embraced it, and I loved it. My grandson, Evan, started calling me that years ago. So he says, PP, I want to watch Mickey Mouse, because he's a Mickey Mouse freak. Mickey Mouse and Elmo. So I'm sitting there at my computer in the middle of my work, and he comes down and says, PP, I want to watch Mickey Mouse. And he loves, and how can I say no? You see his face and you hear those words. How can you say no? I couldn't say no. So I proceeded to go over to YouTube, put my work completely on hold, put him on my lap, and go to YouTube and get Mickey Mouse. And is it making me a little teary-eyed here thinking about how awesome that is to have a little guy like that who wants to be with me and he wants to watch Mickey Mouse with me. So we sat there for 45 minutes and we watched Mickey Mouse. And the same thing happened later. I was in the middle of my work. He came down. He decided he wants to watch Elmo. So we watch Elmo. And I learned something watching Elmo. I learned something that, well, I didn't really learn it, but it sort of made a case that I had never really thought of. And I learned very little now when I watch these things because, you're an adult, right? You know all the lessons, that you know the letter W, you know how to count from 1 to 10. Actually, he does too. But they're discussing balls. Now, Okay, before you start, don't go there with me. This is a family gathering I'm talking about. So it's about, balls and how they bounce and the issue came up. What a horrible world it would be if balls didn't bounce. And I started thinking about that, and they started illustrating it. You know how tennis would be. You hit the tennis ball, and it comes down on the court, plunk. Or you're playing racquetball, you hit it hits the wall and falls. How you're playing basketball, and you go to dribble and thunk. And I thought, wow, that's a really cool lesson. What if balls didn't bounce? What a terrible world it would be. What a horrible world if balls didn't bounce. Every ball would be like a shot put, right? So I learned something watching these things with my grandson. Not only that I love my grandson more and more, Max. I love all my grandsons. I love Max more and more every time I'm with him. But I learned about what the world would be like if balls actually didn't bounce. So that was kind of fun. And I also learned something new this morning, and this could help fat guys like me. I want you to listen to me now. So I often rush out of my house before, just before I can possibly get here in time. It's about a 25-minute drive in from where I live. So I run the clock up doing show prep as long as I can. And I usually end up grabbing my apple and rushing out of the house, oftentimes with my shoes untied, as I did this morning. Now, I've gotten here on time every single time. I've never had a problem. I don't allow any time. If something happens, if there's a traffic tie-up or, flaggers everywhere for road construction, I'm screwed. I'm not going to be here on time. But all things being good, I'm going to get here just about in time. So I run out this morning without my shoes tied. I get in here, and the only reason I hate doing that is because I hate to tie my shoes when there are no stairs around, because I'm a fat guy. I'm not morbidly obese. Maybe I am, literally, but so I hate bending over because I can't. It puts strain on my back and my knees and my pants. I busted buttons tying my shoes before, so get bigger pants. So I run out of my house, and there are no stairs here at the station. So I always have to bend down or get down during the show, and it's so uncomfortable. This morning, I go into the bathroom, and I realize the toilet is just a little higher than stairs. I thought this could be perfect. And boom, guys, it was. Now, all toilets may be there. I mean, the handicapped toilets, the tall ones, it might be a bit of a problem, but these are just your regular garden variety toilet. You put the seat down, you put your foot on the seat, and it's a perfect height. You don't have to bend down that far, and you can tie your shoes. How about that? So there's a lesson for you. You're welcome, by the way. Okay, we've got to get into things big time here. There's a lot that went on yesterday. I've got a lot to say about it, and you may or may not agree with it. A lot of people will, others won't. That's why I like the give and take. I like to hear from you. I will read your comments. I will take your phone calls. I would like to see where we all stand in this thing after what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C. But we've got to take a break. And before we do that, let's see what happened on this day in history, January 7th. Here is the Associated Press.
January 7th, 1789. The United States holds its first presidential election more than a decade after the Declaration of Independence. Americans vote for electors who, a month later, choose George Washington to be the nation's first president. 1999. In Washington, an impeached American president goes on trial before the U.S. Senate for only the second time in history. Bill Clinton faces charges of perjury and obstruction of justice over the Monica Lewinsky scandal. He is acquitted the following month. 1979. Vietnamese forces capture Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, overthrowing the Khmer Rouge regime of Pol Pot. As many as 2 million Cambodians died under that regime, which had turned the country into a vast slave labor camp. And 1989. Japan's Emperor Hirohito, whose decades of rule included World War II and Tokyo becoming an American ally, dies at age 87. Today in history, January 7th. Mike Gracia, The Associated Press.
Pol Pot wasn't done talking. Was that Pol Pot? Did I miss something? I don't know. He's hold on. I got to get that light. I don't like the light, but I understand it does light the face. Is that better? Is that? Wait a minute. I have to remember the lighting configuration in here. Now, tell me if this is. Whoops! I broke something. Tell me if this is bad. If it's bad, I'll go back to the other lighting. This one blinds me, but if it helps, if you like this better, I'll keep it. Just for, aesthetics and visibility. Although I don't need it for seeing, believe me. Stick around. We've got a lot to come. We'll get into what happened yesterday, and we'll get into the election results, which are apparently official. Coming up next, I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Townline Antiques wants to know, what are you shopping for today? Searching for furniture to add to your home? Townline Antiques has beautiful pieces of furniture for every room, built to last with quality materials from the past. Thinking of decorating in a classic style? You'll find enchanting home decor, artwork, glassware, and hundreds more items around every corner. Do you collect books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics? Townline Antiques has cool, rare, and one-of-a-kind items to add to your collection that you won't find anywhere else. If you love searching through the treasures of the past, here's more great news. Townline Antiques has expanded with extra booth space. Now there are even more quality antiques to browse every time you visit. Plus, there are a limited number of dealer spaces now available. If you'd like to learn more about selling at Townline Antiques, just stop in. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Starting out mostly cloudy this morning with a few flurries possible. We'll see increasing sun today with highs in the mid-30s to near 40 degrees. Sunny, highs in the low to mid-30s tomorrow. This sunny and quiet stretch of weather continues through the weekend and starts next week with mostly sunny skies and highs in the low to mid-30s.
Your pep rally for freedom is back.
Legacy
Powered by the
1160.
Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hi. All right, what did I miss? Did I? Well, that's odd. All right. The computer's doing weird things on me. The reason I was late getting on, one of the reasons I was late was we had a computer freeze up. Better during a break, which it was, than during the show. So we're okay now, but this computer just did something very odd, and it's going to end up costing us money, and that's not right, but it's not my fault. It's never my fault. I always pass the buck. We're getting some new people. We get a lot of people on the feed who don't comment, who just are there, and that's great. I mean, that's fine, but we getting some new people commenting. Dick, nice to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while, at least commenting. Calv says driver's seat. And if you're just tuning in, and are we still on? They could have cut us out for that, you know. because that's a copyrighted song. Although we pay licensing, they don't know that apparently. Driver's Seat, Sniffing the Tears. That was the song we played coming into the broadcast. That got on the video stream. Amy says we've got to call in today. Absolutely, Amy. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, Amy, I'm just going by the last name because we have several Amy's that I've seen on the feed before, but I think you're our friend from New Jersey. Megan says she'll be calling in from New York. And so that means Mainers, because we are a Maine-based company. We've got to have some Maine representation in here too. Everybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome. This is America, baby. I love meeting new people and talking to everyone. Get the phones a little bit more active though, and I'll be much happier. And I promise you, I will keep the eyes on the phones a little bit more. And we'll go to the phones in a little bit. But first, we've got to get into this. This whole thing that went on and is going on. We don't know what's next. I mean, we do not know what's next. I mean, is this the start of, a national uprising? We don't know. It's too early. I mean, we can't predict. I hope it's not. I really do hope it's not. I mean, will there ever be an insurrection? Will there ever be a civil war? I don't know. I hope not. And I always say that. And I'm going to address this because I got called out for a comment I made on Facebook, and rightfully so. If you misunderstood me, it's rightfully so. But I want to explain myself. First of all, let me tell you, Donald Trump agreed to an orderly transition of power yesterday after Congress voted to certify the results of the presidential election and declare Joe Biden the 46th president of the United States. The president's statement was posted by Dan Scavino, his senior aide. Trump's Twitter account has been locked because they are the arbiters of truth. This is why Section 230 needs to be repealed, because it's not fair. It's a rule that benefits only the left, as if the left doesn't have enough media on their side. Yes, Manny, there's the number. Thank you very much, Max. Yeah, a friend of mine in California, Manny. Hopefully we'll get, not now though, not right at the moment. I've got some things I want to get through here first, but hang tight, I want to talk to you. Manny is one of the people who disagrees, and that's good. I do not mind that. In fact, I welcome it. So anyway, here's what the statement said. Oh, by the way, if Trump apparently deletes two of his tweets, he can come back on where he's saying the election was phony. Apparently, it's not his right to have an opinion. And therein lies the problem with Section 230. If this were Joe Biden fighting against the election, he would not be deleted. I know it. They have a history of doing this to conservatives. It would not be happening if the shoe were on the other foot. So therein lies the problem, you see, with Section 230. I get the part of Section 230 where it shields the social media outlets, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. It shields them from being sued for content that users post. I agree with that. And maybe there would be some extenuating circumstance, because there are always things that there are always unintended consequences to every rule, right? So you don't make anything completely set in stone, but you shield them from lawsuits based on what I post on the platform. So that should be enough. It doesn't matter what I post as long as I don't do anything hurtful or threatening. Now, hurtful can be a slippery slope. Let's say threatening. Because if I say something hurtful, if I say fat people suck and I post it, or I don't think gays should be allowed to marry. Now, I'm not saying that personally. I'm just using this as an illustration. I don't care what people do as long as it doesn't affect my rights. That's where I am. That's where I am on all this. Now, people disagree with me on that, but there's no time to get involved in the minutia of what people want to do in the privacy of their own home and in their own lives. There's too much at stake here. We've got China, we've got Iran breathing down our necks, and we're talking about gender in the Congress. So that's where I am on all this. But I should be able to post whatever I want as long as it's not threatening. If it hurts somebody, so what? Welcome to free speech. Welcome to America. It's our First Amendment right, baby. And it doesn't work both ways, by the way. If I say something negative about transgendered people, I get deleted and probably blocked. However, if AOC or Ilhan Omar say defund the police are cancer, Christians are the scourge of the earth, they're okay. And that's because of Section 230. They can pick and choose what they want. They picked and chose up to the point where we have a president we didn't want and probably never elected. But we'll never know. We'll never know because nobody is listening to us. But at this point, if Trump is going to accept the election, what other option do you have? You can't litigate this forever. When the guy who is trying to litigate it says, we're gonna make sure the transition is smooth, maybe he'll litigate it afterwards. That's fine. Maybe somebody will listen afterwards. That's fine. What I'm saying is we can't dwell on this forever. Life has to go on. That and I'm sure there's going to be some disagreement there. But that's the way I feel. We can't dwell on this forever. As I say, there are other things we're ignoring if we dwell on this. Not the least of which is the threat, the clear and present threat from China and Iran. Remember, they recently said they were going to come after us for Soleimani's death last year. Do you remember that? China, meanwhile, is trying to become the leader of the world. And China sent us the virus. And we have a president-elect now who is good friends, who is buddies with China. And we have a Senate minority leader now, I guess, would be Mitch McConnell. Is he going to be the Senate minority leader? Who is in bed with China, he and his in-laws, the Chows. There are other things to worry about. But let's address what happened yesterday. At the end of the day, Congress voted to confirm President-elect Joe Biden's victory with a total of 306 electoral votes. Only 270 electoral votes, of course, are needed for the win. Here's the end of the journey with Mike Pence and Amy Klobuchar. And I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so. Okay, let's go to, what cut is it? It is, go to G, try G. Here it is. Mike Pence and Amy Klobuchar.
The chair advises members of Congress, the certificates having been read, the tellers will ascertain and deliver the result to the President of the Senate.
The undersigned, Roy Blunt and Amy Klobuchar, tellers on the part of the Senate, Zoe Lofgren and Rodney Davis, tellers on the part of the House of Representatives, report the following as a result of the ascertainment and counting of the electoral vote for President and Vice President of the United States for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2021. The report we make is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be the president and the vice president according to the ballots that have been given to us.
Oh, there's the applause. Yeah. All right. All right. So there you go. It sounds like the fight is over, is it? I don't know. But we'll assume where Donald Trump has said there will be a peaceful transition of power, we have to assume it is for now. Now, about yesterday, a young woman, Ashley Babbitt of San Diego, an Air Force veteran who had served tours in the Middle East, died yesterday of a gunshot. Not on the battlefield, but in her own nation's Capitol building, the nation she fought to defend. Why was she there? Well, because she was angry. She was tired of the push toward tyranny. We can say she should have known better than to be inside. But she went inside and her life ended tragically. She, like many Americans, are simply tired of government trying to control us. And she made, in my mind, a bad judgment. She knew what she was doing was against the law, but she didn't care. She wasn't there to do harm. She was there to take a stand for the people, for her country. That's what was in her blood. That's how she lived her life. It doesn't excuse it, but it goes a long way toward explaining it. Yesterday, while I watched the events unfold at the Capitol, I posted on social media that the assault on the Capitol building is reprehensible. And I was accused of backpedaling from what I'd said earlier in the day yesterday, which is once you're backed into a corner, all bets are off, that it could lead to civil war. Well, I stand by that. That said, yesterday was one day that we should have done exactly what we set out to do. At least, as my understanding had it, we were showing up in Washington to support what we believe is right, that the election needs to be objected to. And we looked at the process and we saw where it could possibly go. And we were there to protest what we thought was wrong and hope the process played out in the way we wanted it to. But we'll never know what the outcome might have been. Probably no different. But after the events occurred, some who were going to object changed their minds. You know, agree or not, what happened was inexcusable. We don't riot, we don't destroy, we don't push police around, but we did. We became the mob that we hate. Now, most didn't. As I always say, we are associated by proxy. We are known by those we hang out with. Sadly, many thousands of good, freedom-loving, peaceful Americans will forever be known as part of that mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Why is that important? One of the big reasons that's important is because the media is not our friend. In fact, it's already started with no surprise at CNN. They were all too eager to give a pass to the looting, burning, killing, occupying Antifa and BLM thugs. All of them. In fact, Chris Cuomo on CNN, the deplorable, horrendous Chris Cuomo, who is a mook, said this.
Now, too many see the protests as the problem. No, the problem is what forced your fellow citizens to take to the streets: persistent and poisonous inequities and injustice. And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
In the Constitution, Chris. Amendment 1 in the Constitution. But yesterday, he excoriated the law-breaking, Constitution-hating people on the right on Twitter. I think that was deleted, by the way. Then and now, oh my, how the children changed their minds when the shoe's on the other foot. And then there was Anderson Cooper. Now, you've got to remember, compared to the crowd, the masses of freedom-loving Americans who were there, very few relative to the crowd caused problems. But, listen to Anderson Cooper as he lumps everybody in together. I told you it would happen.
Of completely unpatriotic, completely against law and order, completely unconstitutional behavior. It's stunning, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Wow. How about that? They're going to go back to the Holiday Inn and the Olive Garden. They're going to have some drinks. He was referring to everybody who was there. Everybody. You see what the mainstream media is doing? I knew they would. You knew they would. Because they can't help themselves. They hate us. They hate us. They hate America. They want to excoriate us every chance they get, and they put on a pedestal those who literally break the law, kill people, and then are bailed out by the likes of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden during the riots when they began in Minneapolis. So there's what's happening now. So I didn't backpedal when I said the events were reprehensible. They simply were. We should be ashamed, and I am. Not at the crowd that was there, because we were peaceful for the most part. We know the limits. We're better than the mob. But this makes it so much harder to assert without yesterday's incident being thrown in our faces. It is time to heal. I hope we can. I don't think Biden and the left are going to help us do it. We don't have much choice. I mean, we have to give it a chance. And I'm going to say this. You're going to hate to hear this. And I hate to say it. Believe me, I hate to say it. But I'm going to take the high road here. Let me tell you something. Before I say this, let me tell you something. I learned this a long time ago. This isn't something that came naturally. I learned this a long time ago when I get into radio. Well, it was after I get into radio, but it was over 30 years ago when I came to work for the last radio, the pop station I worked for 25 years. I was friends with the general manager, and I remember we went out when he brought my contract to sign at a restaurant. We went to a local restaurant where I signed my contract. And we had a few drinks. So we're sitting in his car, and we're not driving. We're just sitting in his car with a contract so we could hear each other think and understand the slurring words. And he said, always remember, no matter what you do on the air on this radio station, always make sure that you can defend yourself as the guy. You're always the guy in the white hat. You understand what that's saying? You're always the guy who's above reproach. You're always the guy who is morally correct, who is morally decent. In other words, you don't put yourself down in the gutter with the black-hatted guys. And I've always kept that with me. So it is with a little hesitation I say this, but I'm going to say this. assuming that Joe Biden is going to be the president of the United States. And I think at this point, come on, really? How can you assume differently at this point? I mean, they have said no to every action. They have literally, they're derelict in their duties, the courts. So given that, we are faced with this. So I will say this, that Joe Biden will be our president. We aren't fools. We're Americans. And while we'll never believe the election was legitimate, we can't be like the not my president left, because that makes us like them. Do you want to be that? Do you want that thrown in your face? If it's thrown in your face, you'll never be able to throw it back in theirs when they say, not my president, next time a Republican's elected. Think ahead. Don't think just in front of your nose. Think long term. As long as you're an American, whether you admit it or not, you've got to understand the person who is chosen as leader, whether it's by fraud or in reality, the person who is recognized as leader is the leader. And unless you, and I said this to liberals, I said, until you become a citizen of another country, until you leave this country, I'm sorry, you can say it all you want, but Donald Trump is, in fact, your president. So it's something you can only deny by words. Don't do it. It makes you look like them. And we don't want to look like them. Now, as I said, I don't want a civil war. Nobody wants a civil war. As much as it seems inevitable sometimes. It could happen, of course, but we aren't there yet. Let's take a breath. Let's see what happens. We know the election was stolen, but we need to put that behind us now, revisit it later. I'm not backing down. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not backing down. I stand ready to do whatever I can, and I know you do too. Whatever I have time for, whatever I'm asked to do, but I won't be part of a crazed mob that gets sucked in by the size and safety of a crowd and carry out unlawful acts unless there is a clear and present need to do so. Yesterday, there was not. We should have let, and I say we, I put us all in there by proxy, myself included, because we all wanted to see this rally in Washington. So we're all part of the desire to see the election overturned. I and you and many others wouldn't have gone about it the way that some did. And I understand Antifa was in the crowd. I get that. We'll talk about that later. I understand that. Believe me. But you don't have to fall. It's not, if they say jump off a bridge, you don't have to do it. If they break windows to the Capitol, you don't have to go inside. You should not go inside because we have something playing out inside that could in fact have turned the election. But we'll never know for sure, because it was thwarted. So anyway, that's why I want to take calls in a little while. We're running very late. I'm missing commercials. I'm missing a bunch of things. And this day we've only just begun. But I do want to talk to you. I really do. I don't want to hear your opinion. We can discuss. I won't fight back. I just want to hear what you think. Coming up, I'm John James. It's just after 10 o'clock, back after the news.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. The mob that was able to breach the Capitol with little resistance has many people asking why and how it happened. ABC's Aaron Katursky with more.
2 weeks before the inauguration and with a protest law enforcement knew had the chance to turn violent, the Capitol should have been hardened, but was not.
A lot of these people showed up with an intent to commit violence. That signals to me that this was more of a coordinated effort than a spontaneous display of exuberance.
ABC News contributor Don Mahalik, formerly of the Secret Service, the FBI is asking the public for photos and video to help identify the rioters and looters. Congress has praised the officers who confronted them, but will also press to learn why Capitol Police were seemingly unprepared. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
After the Capitol was secured, lawmakers were able to certify the Electoral College vote, cementing Joe Biden's win in the 2020 election. After that, early this morning, President Trump said the transfer of power would be peaceful. The inauguration of Joe Biden will take place in just under 2 weeks. This is ABC News. Shock and sadness from around the world after a violent mob invaded the Capitol. ABC's Tom Rivers is at the foreign desk.
The U.S. image abroad has taken a big hit. British Home Secretary Priti Patel's take.
Absolutely terrible in terms of the violence, the activities that we've seen. We've just seen, confidence in democracy being shattered, quite frankly, and there's no justification.
In her words, the U.S. must now move on with a peaceful transfer of power.
French President Emmanuel Macron.
I just wanted to express our friendship and our faith in the United States. What happened today in Washington, D.C. is not America.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel tweeting doubt about the outcome of the election was stoked, and that set the atmosphere that made last night's events possible. First-time unemployment claims falling just a bit, but still at historically high levels. The Labor Department this morning saying 787,000 Americans filed in the week ending January 2nd. Dave Packer, ABC News.
More time at home means more laundry at home and more wear and tear on old appliances. But it's the perfect time for a trip to the Home Depot or HomeDepot.com. Right now, save on a Samsung top or front load laundry pair. Your choice, just $6.98 each. Save up to $600 on the pair. So wash, dry, and save big on select Samsung laundry appliances. Now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details. Gas dryer extra valid through January 27th.
The Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares sweepstakes is back. Every time the score changes, someone wins $50,000. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. See rules and enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 55.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age majority. Ends February 4th. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030. The NFL is not sponsor promotion in any way.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here.
We embrace tolerance, not prejudice. We support the courageous men and women of law enforcement. We will never abolish our police or our great Second Amendment, which gives us the right to keep and bear arms. We believe that our children should be taught to love their country, honor their history, and respect our great American flag.
Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
All right, let's see what we're getting. We're getting a ton of comments here this morning. By the way, number is 207-621-9759. We've got a lot to get to, but I will take calls anytime. Now, I'm turning this light off because I can't see what I'm reading here. Max said in a tweet from Antifa, my humble opinion, Catherine Gartha, but just in case, I spoke to my Antifa operative in Portland, Oregon, and she said the ones going to D.C. are going to wear camouflage cutoffs and Trump paraphernalia to blend in, but turning their MAGA hats backward for identification, so feel free to pass along. And Jeff is saying, you are promoting anarchy, Antifa in the crowd. Most inside were without masks. You won't find your theory proved. You know what? There was Antifa there yesterday. I think without a doubt. Jeff, you can deny it all you want. I mean, why the denial? And trust me, I have been in anything but denial here for the last half hour, saying that what the freedom-loving patriots who went in to the Capitol and may or may not have taken part in breaking down the doors, but again, you are known by who you hang out with. Let's say, for argument's sake, for argument's sake, let's say that it was only Antifa members who were inside smashing windows and breaking things and sitting in the speaker's chair and ruining her placard that had her name on it, Nancy Pelosi. Let's say, for argument's sake, that those were all Antifa members. We know for a fact, we saw with our own two eyes, the young woman, Ashley, who was the veteran who was killed wrapped in an American flag. We know she was a Trump supporter. She was inside the building. The building was broken into. Knowing it was broken into and entered illegally, this is where the guy in white hats come in. All right, I'm sorry if I offend anybody here, but this is a fact. Listen to me. It's horrible. I was heartbroken when I saw the video of this woman who was there for all the right reasons. But I'm sorry, the building was broken into. That is an illegal act. If somebody breaks into a building, if somebody breaks into a Wendy's or a drugstore, does that make you any better if you follow them in through the broken door? No, you are as guilty as they are by proxy. If you stay outside and wait for police to arrive, now you're the guy in the white hat. Always be the guy in the white hat. I'm sorry, mistakes were made yesterday by the right, by the Trump supporters. Admit it. Let's admit it. Yes, I stand by what I said. I'm not backpedaling. Trust me, I'm not. But there's legal and there's illegal. There is right and there is wrong. Well, I have called out wrong for the past 8 months with all this Antifa stuff, with all of the COVID lockdowns. I have been uninhibited in calling it out nonstop. I am not going to be a hypocrite and not call out wrong when our side does it. I'm sorry. It's just not how I'm built. Now, you can argue with me if you want to. But sadly, every Trump supporter who went in there, whether Antifa broke down the doors or Trump supporters broke down the doors, every Trump supporter who went in there was breaking the law. It was illegal, and you are known by who you hang out with. You are with the lawbreakers. You are with the renegade, whatever you want to call them, destroyers of property. You are known by who you're with. So I don't care what you think. It's the truth. Think about it. If somebody breaks, okay, maybe you have it by now, but just in case you don't, let me make it a little bit more clear. Say you come home and somebody has broken your front door down. You get inside. All of your money is taken out of your cookie jar wherever you leave it, and things are strewn all over the place. And as you get in there, there are 3 people inside. 2 you don't recognize. 1 is your neighbor who went inside to see what was going on. Well, who are you going to report? The guy you know. You're going to report your neighbor. He was with the bad guys. He probably didn't mean any harm, but maybe he did. You don't know. Your neighbor should have stayed outside. He shouldn't have gone in your house. First of all, it'd be very dangerous to follow a couple of thugs into your house when he sees them breaking in. Second of all, if you come home, then you're going to lump him right in with them. And that's just what happened yesterday. If in fact it was Antifa who broke the windows, and there seems to be some proof that it may have been, and we'll get to that. All right, we get a couple of lines going here. Give me time to get to these. because we'll do it one at a time. Hi, good morning. You're on with John. Who am I talking with?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's Amy from New Jersey. How are you doing, John?
Amy, I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I have a few things I got to say. I don't know if I can get it all out properly. Firstly, we only have selections, not elections now. Okay. Number two, you're stating that it's like breaking into someone's house, but the thing you have to remember is our house because we pay the taxes on that.
It is.
It's our building.
Yep.
And people are tired of being told what to do, and that their rights have been taken away. And it's all right that the people break in, like the lefties break in and do what they want, and they don't have any consequences. So that's the other thing. And there are videos showing that the police did let them get through. So this was sort of like a setup, John.
I did see that. I was amazed, and from what I could see, the police were opening the barriers, whether it was out of fear of confrontation. I don't know, but it did seem that way. I think it was a setup
because they wouldn't do that for real Trump supporters. They pepper spray them. And then also the thing I'm really disappointed on is I knew Pence was bad a long time ago, and with what he did to General Flynn and everything. And I don't understand why this is all. You're going to not like this, but a lot of this is President Trump doing by hiring these kinds of people, hiring people like Barr, Wray, Sessions, all these backstabbers and also he never they never even consulted with people that were MAGA. There were so many people that would have done well in his administration. This stuff would not have happened to this president. He could have had a loyalist as a vice president. He should have dumped him midterm, knowing all the stuff that was going on. And if we know it, how doesn't he know it? And I'm very upset. I'm very concerned for our children. What kind of world are they going to live in? I don't know how this is going to be fixed because right now our hands are tied and they're teaching these kids in the school that this was right and that these protests were wrong. They're indoctrinating the kids.
Oh yeah, see that's the danger.
Saying that it's just unbelievable, and the narrative that's put out there is such a lie. And I'm sorry, I have to say I'm mad at President Trump right now for letting this happen. Everybody went all in with him, and they did not, and he did not listen to us. Everybody was, there was no direct line of communication, giving him suggestions. They closed down the White House comment line for all these months. I used to always call in to leave comments and suggestions. What was done with those suggestions? Did he ever get anything? He just hired a bunch of bad people, and a lot of things could have been remedied if he had not kept Pence. Pence is a big problem, and he should have seen right through it. And why wasn't this executive order enacted? Why wasn't the insurrection enacted before this happened? Before the 6th happened? When they were turning down his cases in the courts. This is unbelievable.
It is. It's totally unbelievable. It's unacceptable. I think fear had a lot to do with it, at least from the court and the legislative perspective when it came to looking over the election fraud. I think fear had a ton to do with it, up to and including the Supreme Court refusing to hear the case from Texas.
And he picked these people that went against it.
Right.
And
yeah.
It's just all around bad hiring choices.
But how do you tell? I mean, it's really.
Because you listen to people that are, he's not listening. There was people, even when there's this guy named Jonathan Gilliam, I follow him, I don't know if you've heard of him. Even when he started hiring these Jonathan Gilliam sometimes goes on Fox News. He used to be on Fox News. He goes on Newsmax. He's written some very good books. And he said that these people were bad. President Trump was not listening to the base about who to hire. There are so many people out there that could have done so much for this administration. This stuff would not have happened.
But he hired, but he hired people who he was warned about, who did turn out to be good for a while. I mean, look at Bill Barr is a great example.
I don't think he was good.
I think he was good for a while. I think he really was helpful for a while, and then he turned. it's like he turned on a dime.
Well, the thing is, if he was helpful for a while, let's look at it this way: if it was a Democrat president, and this stuff was going against a Democrat president, and the Democrat president hired an attorney general, trust me, that attorney general within a week would have had those indictments done against people that like spied on him. So I think it's just an excuse. But I don't know. I don't think Barr was any good. People said Barr wasn't any good. You know, when he was first hired, they should have hired people that were loyalist, not the swamp. He kept hiring these swamp creatures. Why did he hire Chow, the McConnell's wife? Why would you do that?
Right.
Why would you keep that kind of dynasty going?
Exactly. I agree. I agree.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that because I mean, China is our biggest, arguably, well, actually, inarguably, our biggest enemy on the planet right now. And we had a House Majority Leader, soon to be a House Minority Leader, who is virtually in bed with China via his wife and in-laws, who have given him $5 to $25 million. And of course, he's going to be loyal to China and the Chinese. His wife is, and he gets money from them.
Well, I just think we've been played. I'm sorry. I'm just very upset and angry today. I think we've been played by the whole thing. People were going out waving flags didn't do it. Calling people didn't do it. I think it's finished right now. I really do. There's nothing we could do now anymore. I don't even know why I'm going to vote anymore. I really don't.
I'm really worried.
It's counting. It's not counting anymore. It's unbelievable. I'm concerned with the kids. I have a daughter. I'm very concerned. I don't know, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're just going to go on welfare, I guess. That's all we're going to
Well, you know what? We may all be on welfare before it's over because that's what they want. That's what the socialists, that's what AOC and
Cloward and Piven here.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, Amy, I appreciate your call. I'm glad you had a venue to get your.
I need to vent. We all need some venting here.
Absolutely. No, and that's what it's all about. And I appreciate everything you said.
Take care, John. Bye.
You have a great day. Bye, my dear. Amy from New Jersey. That's terrific. I mean, these are real patriots, and this is their feelings, and that's what I want to hear. Hi, you're on with John. Who am I talking with? Hello, are you there? I guess not. Somebody here? Whoops. Hello, somebody there? Guess I got to hang up on that one. As I say, it's going to take me a few minutes to get to calls. I don't have a screener, but love to hear from you. 207-621-9759 is the number to call. 207-621-9759. Phones are literally talking with people is my favorite thing. I really enjoy hearing from people and having the communication. I mean, the text thing is okay. I mean, it's great. It's a good thing just to communicate. But I mean, to really talk, have a heart-to-heart, and get to know people, there's nothing better than one-on-one. Hi, good morning. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, this is Megan.
Yes.
You were in Washington, D.C. yesterday.
Yes.
People are complaining about Mike Pence. I don't know is he had the power to do anything, though?
Yeah, he did. And he failed us.
Well, that's and you're talking about the Electoral Vote Act of 1887, which they've ruled unconstitutional. There's some.
And the 12th Amendment.
The 12th Amendment, yeah.
Section 2.
Yeah. Well, I told you, I hate to say, the last person I want to say I told you so to is somebody
I know, but I wanted to have faith in him.
Yeah, I know you did.
Because
I know.
Trump had faith in him.
Yeah.
But I deep down always had my suspicions of
Okay.
Pence. The guy that I watched on Here We Go Facebook page said, let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
I know there's a lot of rumors going around that, Pence is a snake, but I kind of knew because doing a little research and digging, he has very close ties to the Bush family.
Mm.
And apparently
And
him and his wife also got a letter at Bush Sr.'s funeral.
Yeah, I don't know about. I don't know a lot about the Bush Pence connection. I know there is a connection there, But
no, AG Barr could never be trusted. I did a lot of research on him as well and digging. He is the reason why Bush Jr. enforced the Patriot Act that spied on American people. He's the one who read up that law.
Maybe in retrospect I was wrong for thinking Barr was good. I really did.
He's been a swamp rat for a long time, and more than I realized. He got $2.1 million from Dominion, and another $1.5 million later on from Dominion. I wanted to believe that he was good, and that maybe he was just scared or for his safety or whatnot, but he has better security and safety than any of us. So I started thinking and I started wondering if that was really true. And I mean, there's no other explanation for him holding off on the release of this Steele dossier or the Mueller report for as long as he did, or the fact that when he was heading out of the office, he said not only did he see no election fraud, significant election fraud, which is not true.
And that's what turned me on him. He
also said the day before he left that there was no need for a special counsel prosecutor for Biden.
Right. Yeah.
That's what really turned up the hairs on my neck, and my, I guess, so to speak, keen fox ears tuned in. So I started digging. Yeah, he has a long, dirty history. And he's been Attorney General before under another president. He actually worked under the Bush administration.
Yeah, so but that's all done. I mean, that Barr's out. It looks like the Donald Trump is going to, I don't think he's going to concede, but I think he's going to let the peaceful transition of power. What I want to know is, what did you see?
It's not over yet until January 20th.
Right, exactly.
At 11:59 a.m.
Right.
And he still has power to enact the Insurrection Act and martial law. And I'm sorry to say, but the war is coming.
I don't.
Conservatives are not going to let this slide.
Okay.
We're not.
I hope he doesn't, but at this point,
we're a divided country, John.
We are
we haven't been united in a long time.
Right.
And the division has only grown, and it was caused by the left. The only people who are united are the true patriots that would do anything for this country and lay down their lives.
Amen.
We're the only ones united.
Amen. But why did we go into the Capitol yesterday? And I understand. Amy said just a few minutes ago, well, it's our house. It is our house. It absolutely is our house. But we wouldn't allow people to destroy the entrance and the windows.
That was an intention. And yes, Antifa was infiltrated, and I did see presence of that. They marked themselves in a specific way. There were 4 black tour buses that were escorted in by DC Metro that were full of Antifa that would be disguised as Trump supporters with Trump paraphernalia.
Okay.
And it was released by the Antifa chapter out in Seattle, insignia of how to spot them for other Antifa.
Well, there was something from Portland. Somebody told me.
Leaked out, and Patriots started spreading that out. But basically, they wore the paraphernalia like any other Trump support, but the thing was they wore Trump hat.
They backwards. Did. That's what I've read, and there was facial recognition
the people
too.
Who actually got into the Capitol, the initial people, which was about 20, maybe 30.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Okay.
That actually got in.
Well, okay,
but actually, in my full belief, because I've seen the footage, okay, of what happened. No senators, no House representatives were attacked or harmed.
No, correct. Correct.
And
but wait a minute, Megan. Destruction was done, and Trump supporters did go inside, and there was more than 20 or 30. I counted at least a couple of hundred going through the rotunda.
Well, eventually, I got to that point. But this is the point, John. Trump had actually told Congress to let them in because we wanted to see
Okay, I haven't heard anything about that.
The system was, yes, he said that.
Well,
and we wanted to see the system at play, that it would be lawful, that it would be done correctly and upheld. We didn't want any right. I can tell you from the mass of Trump supporters, true Trump supporters I was surrounded by, this was not planned on our end, like true Trump supporters. We were there for the peaceful protest. It occurred when we heard that Pence, our side, not Antifa.
Oh, I know, when Pence didn't...
disguised as us.
Right.
Didn't enforce the chucking of the electoral slate.
Right.
Either of them. That's what caused the uprising. Because initially it wasn't like that. We were all about the march and peaceful protest.
Well, it should have...
When we heard that, that's what ignited the fire.
But it should have stayed like that.
And the fact that we were... the president said, let them in, let them see the process. This is their capital.
Well, that was...
And there were cops that waved people in.
Okay, and
So
that was wrong.
like
And if Donald Trump said that was wrong. I'm sorry. That was wrong. He should have never... A crowd like that, you don't do that. You can't do that. If he did in fact do that, that's the first I've heard of that. But that was wrong on him.
I wouldn't say 100% agree with it, but I don't 100% disagree with it because he's always been about transparency.
Oh, absolutely. But it was on TV. It was on television. It was on C-SPAN.
But when you go into the closed session in the debates, right?
Yeah.
That's not recorded.
Okay.
Hence the reason why people wanted access, because there's certain stages of that process that occurred yesterday in the special session that after it gets to a certain point, it's behind closed doors. There is no media coverage of it. So you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And I think in every sense, whether it be in the judicial system or, the legislative, I believe that there should be full transparency.
Well, there should, but I think we've got enough. There are enough people who I trust in who were in there, not the least of whom is Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, and a bunch of others who were in there who are very trustworthy, Ted Cruz. You look at some of the people.
There's not many left, though, and I can honestly tell you, I don't think if that had happened, it would have mattered. Honestly, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. It really wouldn't have.
Well,
but I think we patriots send a message that we're not going to tolerate anymore.
No, that's right. But
woken up this beast.
Yes,
you
agreed.
And you're perpetuating a false news narrative, attacking our very fabric of our rights.
Absolutely,
and
amen.
Human rights.
But
I'm sorry, but I disagree with you on a lot of things. I totally supported it.
Yeah,
that woman died as a patriot and a veteran, standing up for this country. And you know what? Too many people for too long have had no backbone or spine to stand up for what's right. And unfortunately, it's going to happen.
I think it is. I'm afraid it is.
Drawn out, or if it's going to be short, but there's going to be civil war because we've had enough. And it does state in our Constitution that we have the right to overturn a tyrannical government and swipe the slate clean of people who have failed to do their job.
I think we all. I think we all hope it doesn't get to that point, though, Megan. And I think
I saw the guy who had that woman's blood on his hands.
Yeah.
And she did not die at a hospital later on. She died on the scene.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
What's not being talked about is another man on the balcony of the Capitol was pushed by D.C. Metro Police.
Yeah, I think it was. I saw a lot of pushing and shoving, and I know for a fact it wasn't all Antifa.
Initiated the violence on our side when it was us true patriots, not the Antifa undercover.
Yeah, well,
we just wanted access to be near the doors, to be able to maybe hear what was going on inside, to see.
Okay.
And what happened was we weren't, and I saw it firsthand because I wasn't on the top of the stairs, but I was off to the side of the stairs.
Now, could you have gotten inside if you wanted to?
Yeah, I could.
Now, why
I was on the balcony. I was on the outside balcony.
Why didn't you go inside, Megan? I suspect it was because you knew it was wrong. You shouldn't have gone in.
No, it wasn't. It had to do with my kids.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Because if it wasn't for my kids and my husband, I would have.
So your kids
And I
were
would've died for this
with you.
country.
Okay. All right. You know that would have been
They weren't. My kids weren't with me, but I was thinking of my kids.
okay. See,
And when I
there
found
you go.
out what
And
happened to that woman,
okay.
I
So-
broke down crying.
Yeah, I think we I was in near tears last night. Looking at the video, I was nearly in tears, seeing
I saw
this
her blood
woman
on the
laying
guy's
there.
hands. I actually talked to the guy who was there when she died. And I was behind the crowd. Okay, it was the front of the Capitol building, the left staircase where it happened.
Yeah.
And the group that had gone in the corridor, because there's the doors, and then there's a corridor, and then there's another set of doors. There was a group in the corridor, and I was behind the group, right outside the outside doors, leading into the corridor behind that group. So initially we heard it was rubber bullets, and then someone came out and said, no, it was actual bullet.
Yeah.
And he came out with blood on his hands, and he explained what happened. And another guy said on the balcony off of the staircase that they basically warned us that if anybody else were to try it, they would be next.
Wow. It was chaos. It was chaotic. No other way to put it.
Well, this is how I see it, John. I talked to a lot of patriots there, all right? Sure, and I could tell who was and wasn't, regardless of the disguise. And over half of the ones that weren't even on the stairs or on the balcony or up near the Capitol doors that stood there, and a lot of old timers, older than you, agreed with the actions that we were taking, because enough was enough. They were like, we're not young enough, and agile enough to do it, but we have the right to overturn a tyrannical government. And someone said to me, I agree with you. I didn't serve my country's military to have our country overtaken by, corrupt politicians. And we do have a right to overturn them.
Absolutely.
It is our right.
Absolutely. And I'm going to have to let you go with this because I've got another line waiting here.
But one other thing, I was attacked by Metro DC police.
Oh, you were? Were you pushed?
Yes. I was pushed. I was shoved. One tried to grab my Trump flag, because at the time I wasn't near the stairs. I was just on the lawn, minding my own business, and they tried to take my flag away, and then they struck me with the pole. So I'm not going to lie, I struck a DC cop back, and I told the next cop that touched me I was going to deck them, and I stand by that. I told them truly not only what I believe and feel, but is the truth. They have failed to uphold their oath. They have failed to support the Constitution. They failed the American people. We are the ones who pay their salaries.
Yep.
We are the ones who put them in power.
Right. But they were there to do a job yesterday, and they were in the process of doing the job. And the whoever, maybe if it was just Antifa.
By the club leaders, because these DC cops, they're different than anywhere else, okay? They are infiltrated, I honestly believe, to the deepest root corruption, because look what runs DC. And when
Muriel Bowser, absolutely.
At a different march, when Antifa attacked the Proud Boys, they got violent towards the Proud Boys, not the ones that were the agitators. So they definitely, the DC Metro Police, they do not have the everyday patriotic Americans back.
Again, that's that's painting with a broad brush. So, and I hate to do that, but
I'm 100%. Unless it's like people like individual cops or sheriffs who have stood up and said, this is unconstitutional. I will not support it. Like in my state with the whole, shutdown edicts, for the most part, 100%, I don't back the blue anymore, because they failed us. We had their back in every instance, in every situation since everything that's gone down this past year, and they have failed the American people.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your call, Megan. And you have a good day. Be safe.
I will cling to my guns tighter, my Bible and my kids, but I have faith in God. This ain't over yet. And, regardless of the outcome, if God sees it fit to save our republic and our country, then so be it. If not, I know that he will protect us Christians. I have faith and hope and courage that, whatever the outcome, and if my life is short-lived,
Well,
I know that I'll get salvation heaven because I'm on the right side of things. And what come may, like I said, if it comes down to it, and there's no, turning back, and there's no way out for my family, no matter what,
Right.
And I know that, we would be gone or, killed by a tyrannical government, and what have you, then that I won't even think of my kids anymore because I know I'll see the outcome coming.
Yep.
And I'll die for this country. I'll die if I am, I think.
Never give up, never give in, and have a great day, Megan.
You too.
Bye now. It's 10:40 right now on Legacy 1160. We've got somebody else waiting on the phone, and we'll go to the phone. 207-621-9759 is the number to call. This is sort of a day to just let it out, let your feelings out. We'll get to the call. I am very late on a break here. We'll get to it. We've got a quick break, and we'll be right back. I'm John James.
AM 1160, WSKW.
Townline Antiques wants to know, what are you shopping for today? Searching for furniture to add to your home? Townline Antiques has beautiful pieces of furniture for every room, built to last with quality materials from the past. Thinking of decorating in a classic style? You'll find enchanting home decor, artwork, glassware, and hundreds more items around every corner. Do you collect books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics? Townline Antiques has cool, rare, and one-of-a-kind items to add to your collection that you won't find anywhere else. If you love searching through the treasures of the past, here's more great news. Townline Antiques has expanded with extra booth space. Now there are even more quality antiques to browse every time you visit. Plus, there are a limited number of dealer spaces now available. If you'd like to learn more about selling at Townline Antiques, just stop in. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Starting out mostly cloudy this morning with a few flurries possible. We'll see increasing sun today with highs in the mid-30s to near 40 degrees. Sunny, highs in the low to mid-30s tomorrow. This sunny and quiet stretch of weather continues through the weekend and starts next week with mostly sunny skies and highs in the low to mid-30s.
All right, what do we got here? We apparently have a frozen computer again. Oh, goodness. I don't know what this is going to do. Hold on. I've got to reboot this. I got to reboot this. I don't know why. Are we still on? Are we still up? I guess we are. Hello. I don't know if we're on the air now, but we're on our video stream. 207-621-9759. Let's see. Thank you. God bless you, Megan. You nailed it on all counts. Thank you, John, for allowing her to call it out like it is. Absolutely. Everybody, as long as people, and Megan's always polite. And she's always well-versed in what she says. Obviously, we disagreed on some things, but, that's okay. That's the way it works. I'm earning my big check today. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm laughing at the big check part of it, but anyway. 62207, and we do have clear lines now. I made somebody wait too long, and I don't want to cut anybody off before they get to say what they want to, unless we're up against a clock. And we were actually up against a break there I hadn't taken. So the lines are open now. 207-621-9759. And Anybody? Anyway, so far we haven't had anybody from Maine on the line. So if you want, if you want to be the first, now's a good time to give us a call. You can also text as well. 207-621-9759 is the voice line. Did I? Yeah, we did. We had to reboot a computer, so I thought that was going to happen. Are we back on now? I'm asking the texter. When I do this, oftentimes it takes us off the air. I don't know why the computers are not even tied together. It makes no sense. This is like what is it? The proverbial Rube Goldberg, if you know what that is, or if you've ever played The Incredible Machine, which is an old DOS game, or you ever played Mousetrap. I mean, this is like what this is. It takes one thing, makes another thing go, and this connects to this, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, but if you do everything just right, things somehow work. Hi, you're on with John. Who am I talking with?
Hey, John, it's Max.
Hey, Max, how are you, my friend?
Welcome to 2020 Season 2.
Holy cow. I'm telling you. What do you think? What'd you think about yesterday?
It was a mess, but like Megan was saying, I wish there was a way to post like screenshots and stuff on your feed, because I copied the text and put it on there from that woman that was from Antifa out in Portland about the code, so they'd know who was who in the crowd.
Right.
And you remember the guy they showed on the news there last night, running around with the big buffalo hat?
The horns. Yeah, he was an Antifa guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look up the video from Arizona,
right,
last June, he was one of their keynote speakers, so to speak.
Oh, was he really? I knew he was in the BLM protest there.
Yeah, and if you look real close at the back of his left hand, he's got a hammer and sickle tattooed on the back of his hand.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no doubt there was Antifa people there. There's no question about it.
And I had the conversation on Angus King's Facebook page this morning, because he was on there friggin' blasting the Trump supporters.
Oh, of course,
insurrection.
Of course, he's a socialist.
And I told him, I'm like, look, I said, when half of the country feels like they're being ignored and just pushed to the side, and you're not leaving them much choice.
Right. Yeah. Now, do you think that the Patriots? Am I wrong? I think the people who were there for the right reasons went too far by entering the Capitol building.
I think that if the Antifa crowd started the breaking of the windows and the tearing down of the fence that was outside there, the little plastic snow fencing they had up around on the lawn.
Yep.
Once that started, the people, the real diehard, for lack of a better term, the Trump heads, they got caught up and swept up in the madness.
They got swept up. You're right.
It's like lemmings. Once one starts going off the cliff, the rest of them follow.
Yeah. Well, that's funny, because that's the lemming mentality that I always criticize the left for. And you're exactly right, Max. You're exactly 100% right. It is the lemming mob mentality, and
you get caught up in the hysteria.
You do.
Of the whole thing, and just my dad always used to say, if you hang around the dogs long enough, you're going to end up with fleas.
Right there, you go. Yeah, and to an extent, it's almost uncontrollable, the urge to follow the crowd. And I get that. I understand it. It doesn't make it right, but it's.
Yep. It's an uncontrollable madness. Once it starts, it just is like a wave. It's just
right.
The Capitol building is supposed to be open to the public, and
right.
It is the people's house, but you got to be smart in how you do it. You don't just go in smashing stuff and going into people's offices and trashing the place.
Well, that's true.
I really detest Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, I know.
I thought the picture of the guy sitting in her chair with his boots up on his desk was funny.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know if that was a Trump supporter or an Antifa guy. I have no idea, but I laughed. I literally, and I couldn't help it. I didn't want to laugh at any of it, but I did laugh at that.
Well, there was even reporters in there, like Elijah Schaefer from The Blaze.
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. I did see
a
that.
Picture.
Yeah.
He was sitting in Nancy Pelosi's chair,
Yeah.
and they left in such a hurry. Her computer was still on, and there was still kind of secret squirrel stuff on the screen, and he actually took a picture of it and posted it on his Twitter feed.
It took a picture of what was on her computer?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So what was it?
I couldn't blow it up enough to actually read it, but it was like, stuff that was like inner workings of Congress and stuff that they're working on. He posted a picture of her computer screen on
kidding.
his Twitter feed.
Thought it might have been a picture of one of her heroes, like Saul Alinsky or Joseph Stalin or something.
No, I think those were on the wall.
Yeah, we're on the wall. Yeah, in her office, probably. You're right. You're right. Oh, Max, that's epic.
I'm afraid we're in for a long couple of years until we get to the midterm elections.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, I don't know. This is going to be something that people on my side and your side, you may not even like it, but at this point, if this is in fact going to happen, and barring some incredible last minute Hail Mary, it's going to. I'm just going to sit back and wait and give the benefit, like I did with Mills. I said, let's wait and see before I criticize her. I'm going to see where she's going to take us. Well, within a week, that ship had sailed. And I suspect the same may happen with Biden, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until I see, it's all we can do. I mean, what else can we do?
Well, I was watching Chad Prather and Jason Buttrell last night on the Blaze, and they were talking about Biden's already got like his war room set up.
Yep.
And what the list of things they want to accomplish in the first 100 days.
Oh, yeah.
And the first two things on that list are kill the filibuster.
Yep.
And pack the courts.
Yep. I've got a whole list of them here from some of the others, like AOC, Pramila Jayapal. I don't know how she has avoided being named part of the squad. She is a socialist from Seattle, and I just don't understand how she has not been named part of the squad, because she is as squad-like as Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. But I will get to her tweet a little bit later on.
And I mean, as far as like two-way stuff goes, it's going to be a
it's going to be a nightmare.
Inundation of that. And I'm thinking right now I'm going to have to find like a waterproof container or something and just bury my stuff out in the backyard.
Yeah, you'll lose it in a boating accident, right?
Yeah. That's getting so cliche, but it's almost going to be true.
You're right. You're right. Just make sure it's in a waterproof bag. Vacuum seal it.
Like the old saying goes, when guns become outlawed, I'll be an outlaw.
There you go. Absolutely. Will not comply. You got that right, my friend. God bless America.
So I just figured I'd give you a call and see what was going on and let you in on what I'd found, and hope you and the missus had a happy holiday.
And same to you, my friend. I appreciate your call as always, Max.
Keep up the good work, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
On the flip side.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 621, Max, our buddy Max. Great patriot. We got great patriots. All great patriots listening to the show. Even if you're not a great patriot, we want to talk with you. We're all Americans. I mean, that's at the end of the day, we're all Americans. 201-621-9759. Hi, good morning. You're on with John. Who's this? How come? Where'd the sound? Why is there nothing here? Oh, there we go. Hello? Whoops. Hello?
Oh.
There we go. Okay, I'm sorry. The buttons get all screwed up here for some reason.
Yeah, those buttons are tricky.
Yeah, they are tricky. Who's this?
Moscow Mikael.
Hey, Mikael. How are you, my friend?
Well, a little bit irritated.
Yeah. With me?
No.
Oh, good.
Well,
good.
Maybe slightly, but
okay. All right. I'll take that.
Yeah. No. Well, Megan, Amy, Max, they kind of stole a whole lot of my thunder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Well, you wanted somebody from Maine, so here I am.
That's great. Well, you and Max. That's great.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
So, how would you like my counsel, Dr. Gunn?
Whoops, hold on a second. I've tried. If there, I think we've got somebody on the other line, and I can't pump you through so they can hear you, Mikkel, because it distorts on the radio. So let me just say to the person on the phone, hang in there. I'll be right with you. We're on the phone with somebody else right now. That's the problems of not having a call screener. Anyway, Mikkel, go right ahead.
Oh, no. Like I said, Megan, Amy, Max, they took a whole lot of wind out of my sails because I had a whole list of stuff to go through. But so if you need some counseling, Dr. John, I'm here for you.
Well, you know what? What do you think about what do you think? One of my big questions is, what do you think about Trump supporters going into the Capitol yesterday?
Well, that's a very good thing to talk about.
Oh, okay.
First of all, it's already been confirmed by facial identification software that those were known Antifa people from D.C. burnings in May and June, and Kenosha and Denver, Portland. So these people are being run by somebody's money.
Okay, hold on just a second, Mikkel. I think it's this one line that gives me problems, and I don't know why it is. Let's try that again. Go ahead.
Me or?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, these are known Antifa criminals that get arrested, taken in, and the DAs kick them out, and then somebody's flying them all around the country to these different cities. Like I said, there's Portland, Denver, Kenosha, Milwaukee.
They go all over the place, and there's no question. There were a bunch of them in Washington yesterday,
right?
And they are the ones. In fact, let me play a little bit of audio here. This is audio as the windows were being broken with sticks or whatever it was. This is kind of telling. Surrounded by Trump supporters. Listen.
The Trump supporter was stopping the guy with a hammer.
Well, listen to this.
Right.
And you can hear the window being broken and the woman yelling Antifa, recognizing this as an Antifa person.
Right.
So clearly there was Antifa people there, and they got in, and they may have been the first and only ones to break in and cause destruction. But
there are multiple videos, because I had relatives and friends down there, and they sent me videos, and there were multiple criminal elements that broke in, and like you said, that guy there, the one that you played, he was using a hammer.
Yep.
And he was tackled by a Trump supporter to stop him, but unfortunately, there weren't any authorities to do anything about it.
Yeah, they were really low on security. They had to call in police from Maryland and I guess some National Guard who weren't in National Guard attire because they didn't want to make it look like there was some kind of a military process going on at the Capitol, which I understand.
Yeah. Oh, it does. I mean, this whole thing just stinks.
It does. It totally does.
This is it's either deliberate or total abject stupidity, ignorant.
I think it's a little of both, actually.
Mikkel. All of it.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
do.
The problem. This is what we're going to have to deal with for the next 2 years, and this is why everybody's going to go to every school board meeting, every town council meeting, every town hall meeting, every Cumberland County, or not Cumberland County, but every county commissioner meeting.
Yeah.
We got to start getting back involved. We have been complacent for too many decades.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. People are going to get involved. And I'm afraid, and think about this. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But yesterday, you remember when Trump first took office and we get a year or two into it. Do you remember how emboldened people on the conservative conservative side got, how emboldened we got in speaking out.
Yes.
It was amazing. Now, yesterday may have been a pivotal moment, and now not only are we speaking out, but we saw angry conservatives acting out. Now, some of it, I think, was going too far, and I've let you know that. However, I think the next time we start having BLM and Antifa thugs, destroying property, burning down buildings, I think there is going to be a contingent of the right that comes out with equal force. I don't know if that's right, but this, I think, has emboldened a lot of people on the right, what they saw yesterday.
Well, this is what the problem is that our political people of authority have not been enforcing rules of the land, the laws that we have agreed to abide by. And they've been, have you heard of any Antifa or BLM person being prosecuted?
Oh, no, of course not.
They get arrested.
There have been some arrests, and the reason I know that
arrest is not adjudication,
right? They've been bailed out almost immediately,
or just let off without bail.
Right, exactly.
And that's what the citizens
are
really a little bit impatient with.
Yep.
And that's why there have been more defensive weapon sales in this last year and a half.
Absolutely.
Than 8 years of Obama.
Absolutely.
So what does that tell you?
That tells me between the unconstitutional COVID lockdowns and the failure of the government to step in and do something with all these riots, even though Donald Trump said he would help out with the National Guard in all of these cities, none of the Democrats accepted the offer. And yesterday herself, Muriel Bowser, who refused National Guard help in Washington during the BLM riots, herself asked the National Guard to step in. Isn't that telling?
But they have to be unarmed and only can do traffic control.
Unbelievable.
So I could go a whole hour, but I know you got another guy waiting.
Yeah,
so.
I've got somebody else waiting, I think, unless they've hung up. But we've got a break coming up anyway. But I'll try to get to the other call. I appreciate your call, Mikkel.
All right.
You have a great day, buddy.
You too.
See you, brother. Bye-bye. 11:02. Hi, good morning. You're on with John. Are you there?
Greetings from sunny California.
Hey, you're in California. This must be Manny. Hey, buddy. Listen, do you have a few minutes to hold on? I'm at the top of the hour. Okay, I've got just a quick news break, and I'll be right back. Hold on, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 11:03 right now. Running late as always. We'll be right back. I'm John James.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Questions continue swirling about how that mob of pro-Trump supporters was able to breach security barriers at the U.S. Capitol, forcing members to barricade themselves in their offices and in galleries. One woman was killed, 3 died after medical emergencies, and more than 50 people were arrested.
Police say they also recovered 2 pipe bombs near the scene, as well as a long gun and Molotov cocktails found in a cooler. Just blocks away, those suspected explosive devices were discovered at the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters.
ABC Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas. ABC Chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl has more on the president's response to the violence.
Calls to the White House press office go unanswered. I've tried to call the chief of staff unanswered. I've even tried to reach out directly to the president because none of those who speak on his behalf are responsive.
Shortly after the Capitol was secure, Congress solidified Joe Biden's November win by ratifying the Electoral College vote count. This is ABC News. Protests over Congress certifying the presidential election focused on the U.S. Capitol, but by no means limited to it. And at least a dozen state capitals pro-Trump supporters turned out. At the Washington state governor's mansion, protesters forced their way onto the grounds. No one hurt. Governor Jay Inslee.
Everyone has a role to play in getting disinformation out of our civic discourse. I don't think it's asking too much of Republican leaders to show this act of courage.
And a counter-protest in New York City, with a group calling on President Trump publicly to accept the results of the election. The Labor Department this morning saying another 787,000 Americans filed first-time unemployment claims in the week ending July 2nd. And President Trump's former Attorney General, Bill Barr, throwing his support behind President-elect Biden's pick for the job, Merrick Garland. Barr tweeting he's a great choice for Attorney General for the new administration. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. To keep surfaces sanitized all day, use Microban 24 sanitizing spray. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Once dry, Microban 24 sanitizing spray is effective for 24 hours on bacteria when used as directed.
What's in store this week at Staples?
A great start to the new year.
Give your business a head start on the year with everything you need to be organized and productive.
Like storage solutions, the latest tech, and office essentials like paper and ink, all at amazing prices.
And now at Staples, earn 40% back in rewards when you buy any 2 ink or toner cartridges. Shop in-store or pick up curbside.
Start the year right and save at Staples. Ends 1/9/21. Limit 4. Curbside available in most stores. Visit staples.com/40 and rewards for details.
And now, the show that highlights America's most intelligent people.
Mr. Kelly, please do not leave because I want you to know that I am more offended as an African-American woman than you will ever be. And this business about making America great again, it is your president that's dividing this country.
Freedom's Pep Rally with John James.
Isn't that something? I bet you recognized that last voice, didn't you, Manny?
I sure did.
Maxine Waters there. It's 11:07 on Legacy 1160. An old friend in California now. You must be right in Los Angeles. Did I ask you that off the air?
You did. And I'm actually right smack dab in Hollywood. I live right in Hollywood.
You are. You're working for Warner Brothers now. Good for you.
Yep.
That's terrific.
So long way from those old days where you and I were doing remotes at the car dealerships and stuff for the pop station.
Yeah, no kidding. I remember it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I love to go down memory lane with people who I haven't talked to for a long time, and it's been a long time since we've spoken voice to voice, Manny.
Absolutely.
If I recall, because I did the morning show this goes way back. I was doing a morning show, and as I recall, one day at around 3:30 or 4 in the morning, as I was on my way into the radio station, you were thumbing a ride. Am I right about that on Route 3?
Yeah, I think so, because I used to live out there next to Fort Western Tire.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, Fort Western Tire's long gone.
Yeah.
Long gone.
I bet the main is probably, that's a flashback for him, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, absolutely. Fort West, where I used to go all the time. Oh, they've been gone for years. Yeah. Well, listen. So, California, before we get into what's going on and what went on, I need to ask you, because you and I have obviously differing political opinions. We're still friends. Manny's a great guy. I've always liked you, even though we disagree on a lot, maybe most everything. I don't know, but
not everything.
Not everything. Well, that's good. I think we may both agree that Gavin Newsom, your governor, is a tyrant.
I'm not happy with Gavin Newsom at all.
Yeah, he's just.
I think maybe if I can give yourself and kind of the listeners some context.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Texas, so I'm kind of a unique creature. I have a lot of conservative, beliefs. I support the Second Amendment. I don't believe in abortion. But at the same time, living over here in California, there's a lot of different things that, I kind of end up swaying a little more towards the left. So I feel like I'm a little bit of a hybrid. But no, when it comes to Gavin Newsom, I'm just disgusted over here of the overreach of control, locking us down, making the businesses suffer that are trying to make money. The virus is out of control. I don't have a lot of good things to say about Gavin Newsom, but that doesn't mean I hate it over here. It's all gloom and doom. I actually love it here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? California is probably one of the most beautiful states in the country. And
It is. And as a matter of fact, last weekend I went out to Joshua Tree just to kind of do some thinking and stuff. And I love that you can go north if you want to go camping or something, see some snow. You can go to Big Bear. If you want to go gambling, you go to the desert in Vegas. If you want to go to Mexico, you can go south. If you want to go to any direction you want to go in California, always going to find something beautiful and nice and fun to do.
Yeah, do everything and not even have to leave the state. But people are leaving the state big time now because of yeah.
Well, it's just getting crazy expensive, and the homeless situation over here, John, is just it's depressing, man. It's out of control.
San Francisco seems to be a poster child for poor management.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and the funny thing about that is a lot of those guys that were running San Francisco have now been elected over here in LA.
Wow.
So now they're trying to implement all that model over here. I got to be honest with you, John. I have been considering leaving. Now, I wouldn't leave the state, but I am getting tired of living in the main urban area. I kind of miss living where there's just a neighborhood with regular people and kids riding their bikes and stuff down the street.
Yeah.
Here I go outside and there's a tent city right outside my block.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So what is what is your take on what is going on in the country? I want to hear it from somebody who, and I love that you say you're a hybrid. That's a great way to put it.
Right. Well, I mean, this is my feeling, John. Before I kind of get into it, I want to, number one, thank you for keeping your page as an open forum and also the air as an open forum, man, because, I don't know if you take any flack for that, but there's not a lot of, people on the right that would be brave enough to go on a left show and vice versa. There's not a lot of people on the left that want to go on a right show. And so for you to provide that forum, I think is a great thing, my friend, and I appreciate that.
Well, I just want to be fair. That's all I've always wanted to do. Right. But thank you.
Right. Yeah, and then the other thing is I want to applaud you and commend you on understanding and kind of taking a little bit of responsibility. Not the responsibility that I feel like Donald Trump can't even take himself. You're sitting there saying, "Hey, look, you're not backing down of what you believe in or anything, but you understand and you recognize that what we saw yesterday was very shameful and sad, and it doesn't matter who did it. That was just our Capitol building." And so, kind of getting into that, one thing that's really bothering me, John, there's two things. One thing that's bothering me is there's a lot of false equivalency going on. There's people that are talking about, people were calling for this rioting on the streets over the summer and Maxine Waters and all these people were inflaming all that. And I got to say, there is some credibility that at the same time, I feel like there's a very, very big difference between civil unrest and rioting in the streets and all-out sedition, man, and storming the Capitol and members of the government. I understand, Thomas Jefferson said dissent is the highest form of patriotism, right? But how much of a patriot are you really if you're going to go in there and desecrate, our very, fabric of government, and then on top of that, experience the loss of life? To me, there's just no excuse for it. And I just don't see the equivalency. I mean, I don't think either situation is right. The hard thing about that, John, is I live right off of Melrose and Fairfax. So when all the riots were going on over here with the George Floyd stuff, I was down on Fairfax just having a sandwich, and I come outside. Next thing I know, I'm surrounded by Black Lives Matter protesters, police, helicopters. I got to see this stuff with my own eyes.
Wow.
And then to come out the next day and see all the devastation and the broken businesses and everything, that hurt me, because you know what? As someone who has beliefs that lean towards the left, those people don't represent me. Those people do not represent me, and it sucks that people get lumped into that. It's the same thing on the right, everybody wants to lump people on the right. If you're a Trump supporter, they automatically want to call you a racist. They want to call you this. Right. They want to call you that. I saw people calling you a racist. And John, you don't have a racist bone in your body.
No, I don't.
And so, it that kind of stuff, to me, it's just, there's a lot of false equivalency. It's like, well, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it. And it's like, reminds me of the whole fifth grade playground stuff of of, you know, who's better and who's not better. And so that's one thought that I have is, you know, neither thing is good, but I think what we saw yesterday, and this is just in my heart how I feel.
Yep.
It was just really sad, and sad enough to the point to where, you know, we've got other world leaders trying to tell us stuff. You know, like, I don't care what they have to say, but for them to have to sit there and say some of the stuff they're saying, oh, this is not who America is. I'm like, why should somebody outside of our country even have to tell us that? That
Right.
just really, really ticks me off.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Now, the other thing, and then I kind of wrapped up here, that's really bothering me, John, is I'm sorry, man, but this conspiracy stuff has got to stop, man. Like, I understand it's just a lot easier, you know, for you to believe something that, you know, makes sense to you than to actually research it. But if you ever watch that show on MTV, Catfish, right? One of the easy things, the way they find stuff out, is they'll take those pictures and they'll do like a Google image search, and then they'll start figuring out, okay, where's this person's from and all that. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is, you know, the guy with the big Viking hat and the bull horns or whatever. I hear people all over the place saying that he was Antifa and he's this leader. The guy's name, the guy's name is the QAnon shaman. Okay, he's actually got a name. You can Google him.
Okay,
He's out there.
I did see that, Manny. I've actually seen both stories. I've seen both stories, and tell me if you're not in the same boat when you see what you think are plausible stories and they contradict each other like these clearly did. I mean, do you ever wonder which one of these am I supposed to believe?
Yeah, I do. And thing is, you know, it's really, it kind of boils down to how many sources of information you can gather. The average person doesn't have, you know, the time to sit down and really look at things. Like me, I'm a programmer. I sit at home all day in front of a screen.
Right.
So if I see a picture that I think might have something fishy, like this guy Jake Angelini, guess what I'm doing, John? And because I have the time to do this, I'll open up 20 browsers and I'll look at conservative sites. I'll look at conspiracy sites. I'll look at left sites. I'll look at like 20, 30 sites. And if I start to see the 70, 80% of them are saying kind of the same thing, like you said, it looks like a duck, walks like a duck. You know, it's that same logic that everybody uses for these conspiracy theories. And so for me, I just feel like it's very easy to go and root out and like debunk a lot of this information. And people are saying, oh, it's Antifa. You know what? I don't doubt it's possible they were there, John. It's 100% possible that they were there. Let me tell you what I saw. I saw live streaming, right, from lawmakers, okay? West Virginia lawmakers was in there. All right, guy's name is Derek Evans, okay? Guy was live streaming in there. You know, there's been so many other like Trump supporters and people that have, you know, this event was planned for weeks, you know, and I think that it all got foiled. It was well intentioned and it was great, and it all got foiled. Whether you want to blame it on Antifa or anybody else, it all got soiled by that simple act of crossing the line and really storming our Capitol. And so that's really all I got to say about it, and that's how I feel. And those are just my two beliefs, man. I wonder which one to believe, but I think I do my homework, and that's how I formulate my opinion, you know? So
let me just throw a couple of other things out there. First of all, I agree with her, and I said this earlier. I don't know if you heard me say it or not, but I don't care if it may have been Antifa that breached the building, that broke the first window, that got the first people inside. It may have been a Trump supporter. I don't know. Nobody knows for sure. The problem is that Trump supporter, in our mind, on the conservative side, Trump supporters went inside. They followed others inside and became part of the chaos. And sadly, a woman, a Trump supporter, a clear Trump supporter, died from a gunshot wound. So there were a number of other Trump supporters in there. And there, in my mind, there shouldn't have been. Just because somebody goes in, somebody commits a wrong, it goes back to two wrongs don't make a right. So that's where I am there. And the second part, where you did make a delineation Manny, between the rioting in the streets and all across America and the rioting or the intrusion on the sanctity of our Capitol building. The differentiation I would make here is the right seems to be at least focused in what is going on. I mean, true. I will never say we should have been inside that Capitol building on a day when they were trying to decide whether or not this was going to be rejected, some of these electoral votes. I will never deny that should have never happened. It's now history, obviously, and hopefully will stay in history. However, the focus was solely on what is considered to be a tyrannical government by many on the right, people who don't abide by the Constitution and want us to not be able to abide by the Constitution, aka the First Amendment, and something you believe in too, the Second Amendment. Whereas the rioters out in the street, and we all believe Black Lives Matter, all of us, most of America does, but their focus was not there. It was whatever they could destroy, including many black businesses, police stations, Occupy Seattle. You see what I'm saying? I mean, there was a focus, albeit wrong, the intrusion into the building. The focus was on the Capitol. It was on the U.S. government, which, the Constitution, I don't think yesterday was the day to overthrow the government, but the Constitution does give the people that right. And the focus was there, whereas the focus of BLM, Antifa, and all of the other rioters who just went there by proxy as lemmings and opportunists, they just went after anything they could, including people that got in their way. And I think that's the difference. Do you see my point?
I do. It's a fair point, and I think that I don't at all want you or anyone that's listening to get the impression that I don't feel like they had a leg to stand on or any reason to be there. They had every right, and you know what? Even Trump had the right, just as all of those senators had the right to object. They were following the process,
Right.
What bothers me is that when it turned from that focus to, then becoming, what amounted to an attempted coup, it made them no better than all of the people that came over here and destroyed all this stuff in my neighborhood.
I
think I heard you say it earlier. Those people became what you guys hate.
Amen. Amen.
That's just disappointing. That's
yes,
all. But
yes,
it's
sir.
a fair point, and and I think that's where you and I can kind of meet, halfway on that, and and just maybe together hope that later on maybe to me I'm afraid of those people like AOC and all of them, Bernie and all those guys. Biden wasn't my first choice either, but I don't know. It's just been a rough 4 years. I know that when Bush got elected, it was really tough for me and tough for all of us those years, but I never felt nearly the way I felt the way, I did during the Trump presidency. And so I feel like everybody that felt the way we did during the Bush presidency, that's the way you guys felt during the Obama presidency. But now we get to Trump and it's just this very different, I don't know, just different force of energy that in my opinion just not good.
Well, that's your opinion, and that's excuse me, that's welcome here. And see, if people could talk like this, like you and I can, Manny, I mean, how much better would it be if it weren't so divisive? But unfortunately, and by the way, I don't, and I say this often, I'll say it to you, I try not to overdo it because it takes too much time. But when I say Democrats are a scourge and things of that nature, and I do, and I have, and I probably will, I do it meaning in my heart of hearts, and I think you know this if you've listened, I am talking about the progressives, the AOCs, the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, the Pramila Jayapals. I'm not talking about people like you who seem to be a very objective, old school Democrat as many of the people I currently work with on one of my shows are. And I respect that. And we need more of this.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the problem with the Democratic Party is I think there's just as much deterioration in that party because of the likes of, AOC and the squad, and because of this rampant cancel culture. I'm sick of everybody getting their freaking feelings hurt. I don't care anymore. I'm sick, we don't have enough transgenders in film. We don't have enough representation. Man, I'm done. I'm done with all it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We do,
But hey, John, I don't want to hog up all your airtime, my friend.
No.
It is great chatting with you again. And if I visit Maine soon, with this COVID, hopefully that goes away. I'd love to sit down and have some coffee with you, old bud.
It would be a treat. It would be a treat. My treat, as a matter of fact, Manny.
Awesome.
All right.
Great.
All right, buddy. Listen, you take care of yourself out there in California, and good luck with Gavin Newsom and the gang.
Yeah, no doubt. God bless to you and all your listeners, and I feel for all of them.
Thank you, buddy. You take care. Bye-bye. My friend Manny out there in Hollywood, California, and what a great guy. What a well-spoken guy. Huh? I mean, how many of us are more alike than different, but we get fixated on the things, and we all do it. Left, right, we all do it. We get fixated on the differences. And then we start using all caps, right? And we start screaming at each other and calling each other names, and we never get to the place where we agree. And there are always places. In fact, it was very funny. There's a young woman who has been a friend of mine for a long time, totally gone off the deep end left, total leftist. When I posted my bit about this being a, whatever the word, I used a very big word yesterday. It just came to me. I thought I should use this word. I haven't used this word for a long time. What the heck was it? So anyway, I used this word, and I said the assault on the Capitol was, I've got to find it now because I like to impress people with my use of some of these words. I'm kidding. It doesn't matter to me. I said that the assault on the Capitol is reprehensible. And this young woman, Brooke, who I really like her. She's a really great person. And she said, and we never agree. We've had many words. And she said, finally, something we agree on. And we haven't deleted each other. I said, rare, but it does happen. Proof. There are some things we can all agree on, especially when it comes to food and booze, right? I think we'll find a lot of similarities there. It's 11:28. We can. Do we have time? Yeah, we'll try. Hi, you're on with John. Are you there? Probably waited too long for this one. Hello, are you there? Okay, so we'll get back to the phones if there's anybody else that wants to call. If not, that's fine. Plenty of stuff to take us to the top of the hour. I always over-prepare for these things. But gosh, I'll tell you, I do like talking with people. So thank you. 207-621-9759, 207-441-6969. And plus, when I talk to people of all ilks, it brings my passion level down a couple of notches, which is always a good thing. It's good for me. It's good for my blood pressure. It really is. It's good for the hypertension. And hopefully good for you, too. We'll be right back. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Townline Antiques wants to know, what are you shopping for today? Searching for furniture to add to your home? Townline Antiques has beautiful pieces of furniture for every room built to last with quality materials from the past. Thinking of decorating in a classic style? You'll find enchanting home decor, artwork, glassware, and hundreds more items around every corner. Do you love collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics? Townline Antiques has cool, rare, and one-of-a-kind items to add to your collection that you won't find anywhere else. And if you love searching through treasures of the past, here's more great news. Townline Antiques has expanded with extra booth space. Now there's even more quality antiques to browse every time you visit. Plus, there are a limited number of dealer spaces now available. If you'd like to learn more about selling at Town Line Antiques, just stop in. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Starting out mostly cloudy this morning with a few flurries possible. We'll see increasing sun today with highs in the mid-30s to near 40 degrees. Sunny, highs in the low to mid-30s tomorrow. This sunny and quiet stretch of weather continues through the weekend and starts next week with mostly sunny skies and highs in the low to mid-30s.
Your pet rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hello. It's 11:31 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. 207-621-9759, last half hour of the show. And great calls today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I always tell you I love talking to people on the phone, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it when we get phone calls in from all over. Gosh, we've had a bunch from Maine, we've had New Jersey, New York, California, and more. But wait, there's more. 11:32, and you ever, okay, I'm going to go off on a quick thing here because I can. Because I need a little levity. I need a break from the hubbub, as my parents used to say. You ever, and people who live in the South, Alany and Paul in Florida, you won't get this. But have you ever had something that you wanted, so you didn't know you wanted it until you saw it? It's like you should have bought it when you saw it at Martin's. Well, I saw this snowblower on the Home Depot website. I also found it on Amazon. And I've got a snowblower. It's old. It's on its last legs. So eventually I'm going to have to get a new one. But my son plows the driveway every time it snows, and I don't have that much to snowblow, so I don't need a really good snowblower. Someday my son may give up plowing. He may not be able to get out. Sometime his truck may break down. And I'm thinking, in that case, I can't shovel because of my back. So I need a snowblower, or I need to hire somebody to come plow my yard. Well, I saw this snowblower, and this was like to me, it was the epitome of snowblow heaven. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Toro or a Yardman. I don't remember what it was. I remember it was red. There was a red one. There was also a yellow one. I think they were Troy built. That was it. And it was a two-stage snowblower, meaning it had the augers and it had the auger. Typical snowblower, because I've got an 80-foot driveway. It's pretty big. It's a big driveway if I have to do it all myself. And it didn't have wheel. And I've got these wheels on my current snowblower, and it blows not a tire, it blows a shear pin on one of the wheels. So what is positive traction becomes one-wheel drive, like your old rear-wheel drive pickup trucks were. And with a one-wheel drive in the snow, you're screwed, especially with a snowblower. You can't even go in circles easily. This snowblower had tracks. It had like tank tracks. And I want that snowblower, but I don't need it. What should I do? What should I do? I'm going to need a new snowblower at some point. Should I settle for one that will get me by, or should I go for it? About $500-$600 difference between the two, by the way. Should I just go for it and get this 2-track Primo snowblower? And I prefer yellow next time. I've got red now. I prefer a yellow one. Just, I don't know, because it's different or because it looks more manly. I think it looks more like a piece of construction equipment if it's yellow, like a cat backhoe or something, or a bulldozer. So anyway, that's my little tangent I wanted to go off there. I just started thinking about that. A snowblower came up in my news feed on Facebook because that's how it works. If you look at anything, you're going to see it for the next year on your Facebook feed. 11:36. So, Antifa, we're still waiting to learn more about how many Antifa people were there. If any, I think there were some. I'm certain there were some. And this guy, there's varying stories on this one guy with the horns. So, I'll research that. Bottom line is things got out of hand yesterday. Why did they get out of hand? And why were people so over the top that it was the Capitol building when they weren't nearly as over the top ever for the months and months and months and months of rioting, targeting random buildings and objects and people? Well, Mark Stein, I love this guy. Yesterday, the difference between the right and left, as I was talking to Manny about, the freedom-loving right-wing patriots are focused. I mean, yesterday, what was in the sights of everybody in the protest? It wasn't Wendy's, it wasn't Target, it wasn't a drugstore, it wasn't a police station. It was no occupied zone. Well, I guess it sort of was, but not by design. It was the Capitol. It was the seat of government. Now, right or wrong, it is the people's house. People had every right to assemble outside the people's house. Mark Stein, as always, has a great perspective. Now, he's a Fox News regular. He's also a fill-in host for Rush Limbaugh. And he was on with Tucker last night, Tucker Carlson on Fox. He pointed out that people like AOC, Joe Biden, Chris Cuomo on CNN, and others said nothing when the unfocused random riots were happening throughout the summer. They praised it, almost praised it. In fact, Chris Cuomo said there's nothing, show me where it says that protests have to be peaceful. Well, Chris, you moron, you're muscle-bound moron. It says so in the Constitution. Fredo. So all those riots were pretty much justified, but this going on the Capitol was the worst thing in the world. And Mark Stein makes some sense of it all. Listen to this guy. This is just a couple of minutes long, but it's spot on.
Absolutely. I spent a lot of time in Northern Ireland. That's Protestants and Catholics, Loyalists and Republicans. I spent time in Mostar in Bosnia-Herzegovina. That's Christians and Muslims. And it's always interesting to me that people are surprised when a tactic that's proved effective for one group of people is then suddenly taken up by other people of whom they don't approve. And so I've listened to all this blather for whatever it is, 6 or 7 hours now, where people are saying, starting with the vice president down, oh, this is not who we are. Have you switched on a TV since Memorial Day? This is exactly who we are. Right. So it's okay to burn Wendy's in Atlanta. It's okay to loot Macy's. It's okay to incinerate a precinct house in Minneapolis. It's okay to set up the Chaz Chop Autonomous Republic. But suddenly you expect the capital of the United States, the United States Congress, to be immune from this. That's completely preposterous. Either we have equality before the law, and a Wendy's franchisee is entitled to have his property rights as respected as the United States Congress. I've listened to this stuff too. Chad Pergram, I love him, and I love his reports. And he says nothing has happened since the British burned down the White House in 1814. So we're supposed to take history and the majesty of the Capitol seriously now. Nancy Pelosi told us she didn't care about old statues. Mitch McConnell said he didn't care about the names of military bases. So suddenly this old building is important now. You can't have that. There's been a complete collapse of equality before the law now, ever since the COVID began, basically. There are some groups that have enjoyed the license to go out and loot and burn every night in American cities. And the more they are not subject to any laws, the more onerous the burden that falls upon the law-abiding, so that they can't go out and open their hair salon. They can't have granny round for Christmas dinner. So we've got a completely bifurcated system where the less law that applies to one group, the more micro-regulated the lives of the other group are. And at some point that has to give. And whoever is behind this, to a certain degree, that gave today in Washington.
How right is he? The guy he has such a great way of painting a picture that makes it so easy to understand. And this is what he just said is basically what I said yesterday. He put it, I think he put it in much better language than I did, but it is, you push people so far. You're backing us into a corner. You're backing the dog or the bear. Let's call it a bear, okay? Let's call it a big old grizzly bear. You're backing a big old grizzly bear into the corner, and believe me, we are a big old grizzly bear. And you push hard enough, and there's no way out. The bear's going to bite. The bear is going to annihilate you. Why is that so hard for the elitists to understand? Why is it so hard for them to understand what the Constitution says? And not all Americans, by the way, don't know what the Constitution promises, what it protects, the rights it protects, the freedoms it gives the people of, by, and for the people, the U.S. government of, by, and for the people. That's all you really need to know to understand that the government works for you. And then you read the Constitution, you see what your rights are, you say that your rights trump anything the government says that takes or that tries to take away those rights, and there's going to be problems. You're pushing the bear into a corner. And the bear is not going to give up his teeth. Neither are Americans going to give up their self-protection, their guns, their Second Amendment. I mean, it's just basic understanding of American constitutional law. And I'm not a constitutional scholar. I know the Constitution pretty well. I don't know it as well as a lot of others I know do, but I know it pretty well. And I know what some of the limitations are. I know the roles of government. I know the limits of the three branches of government. And that's basically, you don't need to be a constitutional scholar to understand your rights. You don't need to know ain't nobody got time for that. I get that. See, these are things that should be taught in high school, junior high or middle school now, middle school and high school history. These are things that should be taught. But what is being taught in schools is not anything that looks like history of yore, right? We've seen it. We've seen in some history books the rewriting of the Second Amendment presented as the Second Amendment. I don't have it right here, right now. I read it. Common Core is it. Common Core History, Second Amendment. Now, I want you to understand this is what kids are being taught. This is what kids are being told. Okay, let's see here. Common Core, Second Amendment. All right, I don't see the verbiage they used. I wish I could find it. Because it really was nothing like the actual Second Amendment. Anyway, I can read you the first paragraph of this article, which is from gunassociation.org. Is the Common Core doing the youth a favor by providing learning materials that aim to promote stricter gun laws? Read on and give yourself something to think about your individual right to own a gun. Common Core backers are sneaking a social and political agenda into nationalized curriculum, according to critics, who now have new ammo in writing a lesson plan for teachers that gives a slanted perspective of the gun debate. And I was hoping that would lead right into the Common Core Second Amendment. Just give me a quick second here. Okay, I can't find. I should have had that. This just came to my mind. I just wanted to share it with you to show you what the kids are learning. But I mean, this is where it all starts. It starts in schools. The kids are not being taught real history. They're going to be taught about things like BLM and Antifa, and this stuff is all good for history. It's all good. It's all part of history. So is the assault on the Capitol yesterday and what happened. For real, what happened, not the leftist or rightist lean on what happened. But why can't anything just be straight ahead? Here's what happened. Because the news media and the schools create the narrative now. The Constitution, the founding documents, do not create history anymore. The news media and the political class create the narrative. And to an extent, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media sites. This is very dangerous. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It's very dangerous. History should not be written with any slant whatsoever. But kids are being taught that genders are fluid now. Kids are being taught as fact that gender is fluid. It's not. It is not. Hello, it is not. I learned that in school when I was in the 5th grade. I did. There's boys and there's girls. Science didn't change. Science did not change, but we changed science for feelings. Another dangerous thing that has been going on for a long time, starting with climate change, I dare say. So what are we up against here? If the left, and it looks like they will, has full control. Well, let's go through some of the things they're looking at. They're promising. Somebody, I think it was Max, when he called earlier, said that there's a list of things they want to do. By the way, we've got time for another call if you want to get in. 207-621-9759, 207-621-WSKW. Representative Chris Pappas, you might recognize his name. He's from New Hampshire. And Tuesday, he was talking about what Democrats can do with the majority in the House, Senate, and the executive. Here are some of the things. I want to go through these. Then I'll add a couple of tweets from people. This is Chris Pappas. Stimulus checks. House Democrats passed a bill that would provide Americans with $2,000 stimulus checks after Donald Trump asked for stimulus checks greater than $600. Trump, in fact, asked for $2,000 stimulus checks. The Republican-controlled Senate quashed the effort. And if they do send out $2,000 stimulus checks, by the way, it will be under Biden at that point, and it will add to the debt that they love to rail on Donald Trump for, but this won't be Donald Trump doing it. So then, of course, it'll all be good. It'll all be nothing to see here. And I don't think any of us are going to send back a $2,000 stimulus check if we get it, right? Are you going to? Are you going to say, no, I don't deserve this? Well, I don't deserve it. Frankly, I don't. I'm working. My wife's working. She's a nurse. But if you're working, now, there are plenty of people out there who aren't working, who deserve it. Now, maybe they will take that into consideration, but the Democrats, I doubt it. They want to give everybody money. They want to give everybody money because that gives you an entitlement, right? And that's what they want. They want you to feel like you're entitled to all this money from the government. And so this is greasing the skids for socialism. Here's another one. The Equality Act. The Equality Act would provide consistent and explicit anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people across key areas of life, including employment, housing, credit, education, public spaces, and services federally funded by programs and jury service. Now, we'd have to see a list of what this includes, right? Now, I think we all agree that anybody who is entitled to constitutional rights should not be discriminated against, regardless of, what they choose to be in life, their station in life, right? However, you remember the old give them an inch, take a mile thing? You remember that? Now, there was a time not long ago when people were asking for rights, saying it wasn't special rights, we just want rights. And they should have, I can't remember what the rights were being argued for. But the court said, yeah, you should have the rights. But now look where these rights, look where it's pushing. We create new segments of people. We create new descriptions, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, new categories of people. And then all of a sudden we need new rights to extend to those people. How far does it go? Does it go to credit and services and housing and jobs and things like that? Or is it going to extend to, well, if you're a bakery, we don't care what your religious beliefs are. You have to bake a cake for a gay couple or a transgender couple, even if it goes against your beliefs. Or you're going to have to marry a couple in your church, even if it goes against your religious beliefs. That is where I draw the line. And that is where a lot of conservatives draw the line, because now you're infringing on constitutional rights. That is a no-no. That is one of the big disconnects between the left and the right. The left doesn't mind if you have to discriminate on one person to accommodate another. But we on the right, who are resolute in our beliefs, especially when it comes to religion, we have a constitutional right to not want to marry a couple if our religious doctrine tells us not to. If a bakery there are other bakeries, and this goes back to a case a long time ago that I think, I can't remember how it was settled, but the baker I mean, you talk about somebody's constitutional rights being trampled all over. This man and wife were the target of hate and the target of all sorts of things, destruction of property, because they wouldn't bake a cake. Well, go down the road. Find another church. Activism can be dangerous. Doesn't make it right. So when people ask for rights, you say, yeah, you get a constitutional right to be happy, to be free, to do what you want to do. But don't be infringing on somebody else's rights. You don't get that. That is a special right. There are no special rights allowed in my book. In my brain, in my life, we don't allow special rights. You get the rights everybody else gets, no more, no less. Be happy with it. That's that simple. There's no argument there from my perspective and a lot of others too. So anyway, that is, and we're running out of time here. I know that. We may run a little late, but I'm all set on that. So anyway, so that is one of the things, LGBTQ protections. And again, I'm not saying that people of whatever they want to do, they don't deserve the rights. Everybody deserves the right to be free, but they don't deserve special rights that you and I don't get to be free. The DREAM Act. So boom, we're going to have a lot more illegal people in the country legally. This is one of the problems with America, is all of the illegals in here. Whatever happened to assimilation? You learn to speak the language. You learn the history of the country. You understand the Constitution. No, you just come in here, you steal a gun, you go riot with your gang. It's okay in Lori Lightfoot's world in Chicago. That's all you need. Doesn't matter if you speak English. Most of them don't. And the Voting Rights Act, Democrats have attempted to legislatively restore part of the Voting Rights Act that was struck down in 2013 by the Supreme Court. And McConnell is the only thing that kept the Voting Rights Act from being successful. Okay, now that is all from the New Hampshire representative. Here's a tweet from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Sandy Cortez. Hello, it's a new day. Sunshine emoticon. Who's ready to push? She wants a revolution, remember? Ready to push for retroactive COVID relief and to push for student loan cancellation, for climate justice, health care, voting rights, ending the death penalty. What policies do you most want to push for? I don't have any of the responses here, but I'm sure there were a ton of them. It's interesting, isn't it? How the anti-death penalty party, how that we've got to be good to all people from all parts of the world, how we're all one world, we're global, we love each other, it's going to be beautiful. How this anti-death penalty in America leftist ideology doesn't extend outside the borders when it comes to China, where people are killed because their religious beliefs, because they said something bad about Xi Jinping. Not people who murdered others, who committed heinous pedophilia, but people just spoke out. People who are Muslims, people who are Christians, can't have that. We're going to kill you. You don't hear them bitching about that, do you? How about gay people, divorced people in Iran who are beheaded, who are stoned to death? I don't hear them bitching about that. They're globalists. They care. No, they don't. Don't be fooled by the globalists. They don't care about anything beyond their own front yard. They just want to control you and me. Representative Pramila Jayapal, the non-squad member who should be a squad member, I've always said that. She's from Washington. She says, victory in Georgia must lead to transformative change across America. Recurring survival checks, union jobs that pay a living wage, guaranteed health care, racial justice, voting rights, immigration reform, climate action, reproduction justice, killing babies, education, and much more. I can't wait, she says. And finally, Brian Fallon, who served as a member of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, said that we can now eliminate the filibuster and reform the courts, restore the Voting Rights Act, revive democracy. Wow. And Chuck Schumer, Chuck Schumer is, he's chomping at the bit to make big change. We'll win Georgia, then we'll change America, says bifocal Chuck. That's all we got time for today. Gone a little overtime here, but see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for being there. Do we get a call? All right, let's see. I don't want to turn anybody away. Hi, good morning. You're on with John. Whoops. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So I had just a few other things to say.
This Megan?
Some of your viewers.
This Megan?
Yeah.
Okay, I can barely hear you. You're in a car.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, okay. You're going to have to make it quick because I'm overtime here.
Okay. I'm pulling over. So I listened to some of your viewers.
Yep.
Who called in. I agree with a lot of them, but Danny, I think it was.
No, Manny.
Manny.
Yep.
I don't agree with some of the things he said.
Well, Manny's a Democrat. He's a Democrat, and he admits it. But he's very objective. I mean, we're not going to agree with the other side, but we've got to talk with the other side. That was my whole point.
Yeah, and I get that.
Yep.
But the thing is, a quote from Thomas Jefferson said, "If tyranny becomes law, then rebellion becomes a duty."
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And it actually says in the Constitution, not just that we have the right to overturn a
tyrannical government, yeah.
But it's a duty.
It is
seen as a patriarch duty.
It is a duty, but there is no we don't have any bar for what is going to constitute enough tyranny to overthrow the government, and therein lies the problem. And with that, I have got to run, Megan. But I appreciate your call. But I am way over time, and I've got people waiting for the studio. We've got to record another show after this.
And it's not conspiracy. I think this was all planned.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to be. I don't want to be. It may be, but I'm not. I refuse to be a conspiracy theorist.
And they will be took down the gates. Now the fences were taken down by force.
Okay.
They were moved.
Yeah, I did see the police moving the gates, and we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I want to wait and look. I've heard all sorts of rumors that I haven't talked about because I don't want to talk about them until there's more
But
proof.
I'm not saying conspiracy theory here, basically. I'm saying look with your own eyes. You know, things don't add up.
Okay.
And the people who were breaking things and destroying property in the Capitol, I have no doubt it was all Antifa. Because I have footage of Patriots. Like when we got control of the staircase and the balcony, we just stood there and we spoke truth.
Right. Patriots, you got to understand, there are radicals on both sides. And this is, you know,
but I'm saying the non-radical Patriots. And I saw more with the flag waving and peaceful assembly on the steps than anything else.
Yeah. Okay, that point taken. But with that, I do have to go. I've got people waving at me here. So listen, you have a great day. And thank you very much for the call and for listening as always.
Yep.
All right, you be well. Bye, Megan. It's 12:05, running a little late. See you tomorrow morning at 9. Mike Violet is going to be here tomorrow morning at 6. Have a great afternoon.
Repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs at 861-7028 or online at KennebecElectric.com.